back at Dover International Speedway. Race number 2 in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. The FedEx Race Rundown has the story. Defending chase champ Jimmy Johnson on the pole, but that didn't last long as Denny Hamlin took over the lead on lap 2. The pressure of the chase, you could see it. Tony Stewart bumping Paul Menard, and pit road here could bring out the worst in anyone.
It really does, too. It's such a narrow pit road, and like you say, with all the pressure and all the angst, guys are going to get a little impatient. As the day wears on, it's going to get even worse.
Really, the battle of the day so far has been with two guys who really run well here, Matt Kenseth and Denny Hamlin.
Man, Matt Kenseth, he's got that race car on kill right now. He is coming. Kurt Busch, who's great at Bristol, this is just a bigger Bristol. Expect him to be a factor throughout the day.
Yeah, Kenseth says Dover, one of his favorites. First Cup race was here, won a couple in the Busch Series here, so if he's looking for a little redemption, this is the track.
Absolutely.
6 lead changes, 4 cautions, Doc.
Thank you very much, Susie and Brad. Great racing here. Matt Kenseth trying to get his second win here. You talked about how Kurt Busch wants to some redemption from the disappointment of a week ago. Kurt's best finish, a 4th here in this race last fall. By the way, let's update that crew member that we saw hit by that tire that was somersaulting in the air during that pit stop. That was the gas man for Michael Waltrip's car number 55. That was Art Harris. And the good news is that Art is awake and alert. Remember, he was wearing that NASCAR mandated helmet. He is going to be transported for further evaluation, but he is awake and alert. And Aaron Perrat, by the way, the gas man for A.J. Allmendinger's car, who is in the garage area, he's going to be called into action to replace Art Harris as the gas man on the 55.
See the 44 car, Dale Jarrett slowing down. Looked like a little smoke out of the right side of that car. Can't tell right now if he's got a flat tire, an engine problem or what, but something's what I'm missing that 44.
Going awfully slow getting on the pit road, like there is something maybe wrong with the engine or something really gone amiss there somewhere.
You still got water pressure and oil pressure and all that, right? Yeah, just started missing there and just really losing power, and I absolutely have no power steering whatsoever.
That's always a sign of maybe losing all the belts off the front of the engine when you don't have power steering.
We saw that same thing happen to Dale Earnhardt Jr. during the Brickyard 400 where a pulley broke in the front. Lost all the belts. Eventually the motor blew up. Everything went out the window when that happened.
2 car is second place. That's you see him right behind the 49. And Clint Boyer, talking about the Cinderella story of a week ago when he dominated at New Hampshire and had the terrible trouble in qualifying, started 42nd. He is on the march.
Oh, right now we're only 111 laps into a 400-lap race, and he's already from dead last all the way up to 13th now, and his lap times are very, very good, so he's on the march. He was fast in practice yesterday, too. 5th quick.
Behind him, the 0-1 car of Mark Martin, who started back in 31st position. Remember, Mark is a 4-time winner here at Dover. He and Jeff Gordon are the winningest active drivers at this track. And remember, Mark will drive the 8 car for DEI in 2008. He'll share that ride with the U.S. Army sponsorship with the rookie Eric Almirola. Now, more on Clint Boyer. Let's check in with Mike.
Well, you know, Doc, you called him the Cinderella man. Well, I spoke with his crew chief, Gil Martin, this morning about that win in New Hampshire a week ago, and he said it was very satisfying for a number of reasons. One, for a lot of these guys who originally were on the number 30 team, this was their first win in the Nextel Cup Series. But first and foremost, it legitimized their championship chances. Clint said it opened up a lot of eyes, and as for Gil, he said a lot of people really looked at them simply as the team that took Junior's spot in the chase. And because of that, there weren't very many expectations, and they're racing right now with very little pressure. Dave?
Mike wanted to keep you posted on another chase driver right in front of him, Kevin Harvick in the 29 car running 12. He restarted in 9th position, so he's lost 3 spots. Just went down to check on his race car, loose on the racetrack. It was loose before that stop. They made an adjustment, but it's still hard to handle.
It's a tough racetrack to get a hold of, and it changes as you go. You see these cars moving around up on the top of the racetrack. Down on the bottom we see Kevin Harvick, and a lot of these guys will need to adjust their cars to be able to run these different grooves.
Well, these cars here at Dover, generally they run tight. As the race goes on, they start losing the front end, start sliding around, and folks, you'll see the whole racetrack getting blacker and blacker. It's a concrete track, so it's kind of white, and as more rubber gets down, the track really changes.
I talked to Todd Barrier this morning in the garage area, and usually the track does go tight. But he said the last race here with this car tomorrow, their car actually went loose in the latter part of the race. So that makes it even harder to predict which way to adjust your car.
Well, that's one thing this track does, Andy. It just moves all over the place, and it's hard to get a handle. But if you got a good setup, hey, it'll eat up all those bad things that happen as the race goes on.
The air can be a big factor here in what happens on your race car as well. The 07 is catching the 29, but let's show you here. Watch the battle here. Watch the 29 behind the 5 car, and watch the 8 pull up.
Oh, yeah, you see the 8 car getting right up behind the 29. See the back of that car of Kevin Harvick's wiggle around? That's all because you can make them loose like that. And you're going to use that air to your advantage today to make some passes. Get the guy in front of you out of control, then pass him. See, they're not touching each other. It's all aerodynamics, packing up under the rear bumper of the car in front.
What's about to pack up under the rear bumper of the 29 car is the 07 just coming. That's Clint Boyer. We talked about how he had come from 42nd. Clint joined us in our pit studio during qualifying. He was very, very frustrated with his qualifying run. Here's a guy who didn't have the best qualifying run, but he's got maybe the best race car here today. That's Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I was talking to this crew chief during practice. He said, you know, my car is completely set up at what they call a 7-post pull-down rig, a 7-post rig, and boy, it's almost a computer that sets it up. Take a look at this 99 car, Paul Edwards. He's flying too.
He's only on 2 tires on that last pit stop, so if he gets 4 tires on this car, he might be able to go toe-to-toe with Matt Kenseth. Both of these guys having very similar cars and probably similar setup.
More on Kurt Busch Day.
And Kurt Busch was one of those cars that also took on just 2 right side tires. His last report moments ago, the tires feel like basketballs. Rusty, what does that mean?
They just, sometimes there's just too much air in them. They slide around, and that's probably what he's talking right now. This team's complained a lot about, trying to keep the front of the car down and keep the air pressure buildup out of the front. And it seems like he's struggling with that right now.
Concrete racetracks have a lot of like abrasive bumps in it because you can't smooth it out like asphalt. Concrete's a whole different animal, and they've ground the racetrack and made it a lot smoother than it used to be. But now with this car tomorrow, it's got a lot harsher suspension. These guys are actually racing on bump stops, which makes that thing harsher when they go over these bumps.
122 laps of 400 are in the books. Our leader is Matt Kenseth. Take a look at the Ford lap leaders. There have been 6 lead changes among 5 different drivers. Denny Hamlin has led the most laps. He's led twice for 61 laps. Back with more from the Monster Mile in just a moment.
Welcome back to the Dodge Dealers 400 and the Monster Mile. This track can kill championship hopes or make you into a hero. Race number 2 in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. 12 drivers with a shot at the title, and Matt Kenseth is hoping to change his history in the chase. Let's get up to speed, beginning with Jamie.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth right now on the radio asking his crew chief Robbie Reiser, how fast are the guys behind me running? And he let him know they're right there, they're on your tail. So Matt Kenseth, though, said the track is actually tightening up, but right now he's getting a little loose off. Matt Kenseth, though, guys, happy with the car overall, running first.
Carl Edwards plenty confident coming into this race. After all, he has plenty of reason to be. Finished 2nd and 3rd in his last 2 visits here to the Monster Mile. Right now running very strong. Took 2 tires on his last stop. And his only complaint right now, a little tight in the middle, but otherwise a very good race car. Dave?
Kurt Busch got passed by him just a little while ago. We talked about the basketball-type tires. Pat Tryson still believing, like he told me this morning, that they have a winning race car. They'll make adjustments the next time they get a chance. The 11 of Denny Hamlin right now. Crew Chief Mike Ford asking him, did that work? The last adjustment? No. Too tight in the center was the report on lap 125. Needs to turn better if this 11 car is going to win. The 48 car of Jimmy Johnson right now running just a few positions back. Said earlier this week, the guy that wins a championship this year wants to be able to say, I beat the best at their best. It looks like that's going to happen this year. He's finding that out today. The pole sitter struggling back inside the top 10 right now, trying to work his way back to the front. Alan?
Kyle Busch 5th in the chase standings entering the race. His car had a little too much rear grip for his liking at the last caution. They made an adjustment, and wouldn't you know, now it doesn't have enough rear grip. He's kind of sliding around, but still maintaining his position in 8th spot. Not bad. Jamie?
And Martin Truex Jr. running 9th right now. Remember, he won this race just a few months ago in June, his first ever Cup race. Since then, he has been on a roll. 6 top 5 since, gained 10 positions and landed himself in his first ever chase. Today, he said his car is just handling
better. That race car is coming back to him, kind of like his hunting trip this week, where he tried to shoot a 900-pound elk sitting in a tree, waiting for it. His first shot missed. The most nervous I've ever been, he said. Then he downed the elk. He got what he came for, but it took him a couple of times. This race car driver is a good hunter as well, Mike.
Clint Boyer dug himself a bit of a hole in qualifying and rolled off the grid today, 42nd, but he has rallied back. He's all the way up to 12th right now, and with a very good race car. Last stop came in, took 2 tires, and the car has responded. No ill effects whatsoever for Clint Boyer right now, who really is enjoying his run. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon, who was up inside the top 10 for quite a while this afternoon, is beginning to experience some problems. Feeling like the throttle is dragging a little bit. He's dropped back to 14th right now, still trying to get a handle, but still a lot of racing ahead of us here with only 136 laps in the books. Alan?
Got to drop back a good ways to find Tony Stewart. Tony started the race back in 28th spot, moved up a little bit to around 20th. They took some time on a pit stop to put in a spring rubber. He gained some spots on this last run, then began falling back. Tony says the front end of his car has no grip right now, but he says we're still okay. There's plenty of time. And we reported earlier about Jeff Burton, who was as far back as 40th place and asking for big changes to his race car. He now reports his car is better, although he's beginning to slide around some as we get later to the run. Burton is in 27th spot, although he's next to last on the lead lap.
Alan, Jeff Burton, the defending champ of this race, became the leader in the chase after that win. Different scenario today, and those are your 12 drivers in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Some great aggressive driving at the Monster Mile today.